Hi, welcome to the Bright Ideas session on building continuous learning cultures with awards and Discover in Brightspace. We're really excited to have you join us today. So we're going to get started with today's agenda. We're going to start with some quick introductions and then from there share an overview of some of the tools that we plan to use today. Then we'll have a demo in Brightspace. Finish off, we'll take some time to share resources and have a discussion opportunity and some live Q&A time. So, hi, I am Amber West, and I'm a customer success specialist here at D2L. Essentially, my role is to help professionals like you make the most of your Brightspace tools. And joining me today are my colleagues Nicole, Sophie, and Whitney, who are also going to be sharing resources and answering any questions that you have in our Q&A chat. Thank you, team, for being here to support. And then before we get too far, let's align on some quick terminology. So D2L is the company that we all work for. Brightspace is our product, a learning management system, and depending on where you work, you might call your Brightspace instance something different, although your LMS might go by a different name as long as you're here. They should all refer to Brightspace. And then Brightspace Community is D2L's free online website where members can find great teaching and learning information, share best practices, and connect with other professionals using Brightspace. We've added the link to the chat for you to register if you're not already a member. All right, so today is really about thinking beyond one-time training and exploring how we can keep learners engaged over time. As we go through the session, I want you to think about your own organization. So whether that's onboarding, partner enablement, customer education, or professional learning, and where there may be opportunities to create more personalized and motivating learning experiences. So we're going to look at a few practical ways awards and Discover can help support that journey while still being scalable and manageable for your teams. So customer and partner education today really goes beyond just onboarding. It's not about delivering a course, it's more about creating an ongoing learning experience that keeps people engaged, growing, and connected to your organization over time. Modern learners expect flexibility and they want to be able to access learning when they need it, explore topics that are relevant to them, and move through learning in a way that fits their goals and schedules. So recognition also plays a huge role in motivation. And when learners can see progress, earn achievements, or work towards milestones, it creates momentum and encourages continued participation. And when we combine that recognition with personalized discovery, helping learners find relevant content and pathways, we start creating learning experiences that feel more meaningful and self-directed. And ultimately, continuous learning helps organizations build stronger relationships, improve adoption, and support long term growth. So, today I wanted us to think about this not just as course delivery, but as a scalable enablement strategy that supports ongoing engagement and success. So here's one example of what a continuous learning culture can look like in practice. So it really starts with onboarding. So giving learners the foundational resources and guidance they need to get started confidently. But ideally, the learning experience doesn't stop there. So their learners can continue building knowledge through personalized learning pathways and relevant content supports their goals and interests. And as they progress, recognition becomes important. So, awards, certifications, or milestone achievements help validate their progress and keep the learners motivated to continue. And then the next step would be application, taking what they've learned and actually using it in real world scenarios, whether that's using a product more effectively, supporting customers, or developing professional skills. The goal is advancement. And we want learners to continue discovering new opportunities, deepening expertise, and staying engaged over time. So, what's important here is that this becomes an ongoing cycle rather than a one time event. So, let's look at how these two tools really complement each other. We've got Discover, which is focused on helping learners explore and find learning opportunities that are relevant to them. Instead of assigning every piece of learning manually, learners can search, self-enroll, and move through personalized pathways based on their goals or interests. And it's especially powerful in customer or partner education environments where learners might have different roles, needs, or experience levels. Then we have awards, which helps recognize progress along the way, whether that's completing onboarding, earning a certification, or reaching a milestone. Recognition helps make learning visible and motivating. And what's nice is that these tools work together really naturally. Discover encourages learners to continue exploring and engaging with learning opportunities, while awards reinforces achievement and gives learners a sense of progress and accomplishment. And the fun part that we're all waiting for. Let's take a look at these in Brightspace. Just give me one moment here while I get my screen switched over. There we go. So we're moving into Brightspace. We're going to start here with Discover. So one of the biggest shifts we're seeing in learning right now is that people want learning to feel accessible, personalized, and self-driven, especially with professional development, upskilling, and reskilling. And that's really the problem that Discover was designed to solve. So as I open up Discover here, we're going to notice how different it feels from a traditional LMS experience. It's intentionally designed more like a modern content platform or streaming experience, and learners can browse, search, and filter by categories and immediately find something relevant to them. So in our search bar here, I could then find all courses related to leadership. And in this case, I've got 3 that you're able to take a look at. Um, And instead of learning something that's really assigned, what happens here is that student or learners can become something, make this an experience that's something they're actively choosing rather than having that to them. So it's especially useful for optional professional development, onboarding resources, communities of practice, or just in time learning support. Things can be further filtered from your searches by semesters, departments, or even sorted by relevancy, how recently they've been updated, or things that they're already enrolled in. So Discover is especially useful for, or sorry, one thing that administrators really appreciate about Discover is how much friction that this removes from their process. So instead of handling enrollment requests manually, you can make courses discoverable and allow learners to self-enroll, which means ultimately you're reducing your administrative overhead while making learning more accessible. So next, I wanted to jump into awards. And so once your learners are engaging with content, the next question becomes, how do we keep motivation high and recognize progress in meaningful ways? And that's where the Brightspace Awards can come in. So right here, I've got kind of our badging and certificate area within awards. You'll notice that you can check awards based on a course level, class list, so who's already got something, uh, if you're in the learner profile, you can check which awards you have, what's available, and then we have a library of some icons and a place to store your certificates. And what's nice about awards is that it's built directly into Brightspace itself. You're not relying on a disconnected third-party gamification tool. Everything stays inside of the learning experience. What I really like here is that you can filter by all or quickly by your badges or your certificates. So I've got my badges here, and really what I wanted to show here is that one of the most powerful things that you can do with these badges and certificates is automation. So for example, you can automatically issue a badge after a learner scores, for example, 80% on a quiz, whether they complete a module or if they finish an entire course. So when I come into the edit properties, I can see that this one in particular already has a release condition applied. So instead of manually tracking achievements, Brightspace handles it for you. And honestly, even small recognition moments can make a really big difference for engagement. When learners can visibly see milestones, progress markers, or stackable achievements, it creates momentum. And you can use badges for skill progression, onboarding pathways, leadership development, or even micro-credentialing strategies. Let's now take a look at some certificates. So on the certificate side, you can issue a professional looking completion certificate automatically. This becomes a tangible artifact that your learners can actually use in portfolios, professional development records, or credential sharing. So in this case, I've got um, a course completion certificate that would have some um, replacement strings in it, and then all of this information gets filled in when it is issued to your learners. What I think is also really interesting is back up at the top here is we've got some options with your awards for sharing. And one really interesting thing about this feature is that your learners can share these achievements externally. So they can post their badges or certificates to places like LinkedIn or share them publicly, which naturally increases visibility for your organization's learning programs. And that is incredibly powerful. So let's take a look next at what your learner's journey would look like. So I'm just going to impersonate a test learner here for a moment. And we'll take a look at what that journey would look like for them. So this is where it gets really exciting when Discover and Awards can work together. And we're going to think about the full learner journey here. So your learner would come into Discover and they can browse available learning opportunities. So we've got some featured and a list of all here. And then they can self-enroll in something that interests them. So let's take our leading and delegation course. When they come here, they can easily click enroll in course. And it feels really fast and intuitive for them. So learners don't have to wait for approvals or emails. They find something interesting, click into it, and then they can start learning immediately. So let's open up this course here. As they navigate through the course, they earn milestones and badges along the way, and ultimately can complete the experience and receive a certificate. That would be based on any kind of available release conditions or anything that is awarded manually. Then the final piece here is advocacy. So when the learners share those achievements publicly, it creates awareness and interest in your learning offerings. So now your learners are actually helping to promote the value of your training ecosystem. So this particular test one has the ability to see some awards that are available to them, but hasn't earned any as of yet. All right. So coming back to our main presentation here. So what we've seen today is how awards and Discover can work together to create a more engaging and continuous learning experience, one that goes beyond just course delivery. You're building a culture where learning feels visible, rewarding, and learner-driven. Hopefully this gives you a sense of how Discover helps drive access and engagement, while awards helps reinforce motivation and recognition. Separately, they're valuable tools, but together they create a really strong end-to-end learner experience.